One of my favorite niches of content is comedians shutting down hecklers, right? They're on stage, someone's heckling them, and they shut them down. Or just have a funny back and forth with them. But even better than that is if it's over a political issue and it's a MAGA person being the heckler and the comedian is willing to call out their absurdity. And I have watched these for a while. I realized I'm sure you would all enjoy to watch some of these too, so we'll do it together. And we'll start with a comedian by the name of Steve Hofstetter. And a back and forth he had that went so brutally for the Trump supporting heckler that the girlfriend of the heckler, of the MAGA guy, had to go, I'm not, don't associate me with him, my views with his views, because I don't support what he's saying. She abandons him because of how embarrassing this back and forth is. Then we'll watch another from Steve Hofstetter. Then we'll watch what I think is one of the most iconic examples of this from someone else that I've ever seen. So first, this very interesting.
Is every 4 years I come down and do shows in Florida right before the election because you guys have a tendency to f things up. I know you know the state's history, but y'all decide the president, which is ridiculous. Sorry, Florida, that's ridiculous. That Florida decides the leader of the free world. You got what? Talking about Obama? No, I'm not. Why?
Why not?
Why not? No. You brought it up, sir.
Democrats up, Republicans fix their
Democrats up, Republicans fix their up. Did you major? Are you an economist by any chance?
Look at the history. Look at the history.
I am.
Look at the history. Look at the history.
Look at the history.
So now the heckler seems to have snapped into a mindset where he just can't stop repeating, look at the history.
No.
Look at the history. Look at the history.
Look at the history. This is fantastic. Hold on a second. Who are you to him? You're his girlfriend? This is great, because, sir, not only have you interrupted me to tell me how much you... I did not ask you to respond, sir. Hold on a second.
And then it goes on from there, but the girlfriend has to say, I'm not with him on those statements, even though she is indeed his girlfriend. Now, by the way, in this video that Steve Hofstetter put together, he does go on to explain, but I'll quickly sum it up for the sake of time, that the heckler's just so wrong. Actually, let me skip forward because he does do a nice job whenever he eventually cuts away from this extended back and forth. But to say that history shows Republicans having to fix the F-ups of Democrats, that Democrats come in, mess things up, and Republicans have to fix it. Let's just focus economically for a second here. That is literally the opposite. It's just the opposite of what we've seen. Now, you can cast blame in different ways. You could say, no, well, those huge economic crises that Republicans kept being in power when they happened, that's not their fault. And Democrats overseeing great growth comparatively, that was just by happenstance over an entire century. You can make an argument, but you first have to agree on what are the objective facts, which is comparing those different metrics. And he does it nicely here.
In case you've never looked at the history, as this political genius suggested, here are the actual numbers.
Look at the history. Look at the history.
This is all pre-Trump, since it would be unfair of me to judge his economy this soon.
By the way, this video was right when Trump came into office, I think.
Since World War II, 24.4 million more jobs have been created under Democratic presidents, or 78.6% more per year. GDP growth is 44% higher under Democrats. Business investment has been 193% higher under Democrats. Unemployment is 18% higher under Republicans. And 9 of the last 10 recessions have happened under Republican presidents. But I'm just looking at the history.
Look at the history. Look at the history.
Right. So, and you can go down any way you splice it and dice it, any way you look at it, any comparisons, you remove who's in the House and Senate, you add it back, you do delays, however you do it. It's undeniable that Democrats continue to oversee better economic situations and, most importantly, growth than Republicans. And that has absolutely maintained throughout the Trump and then Biden years. So we've done those comparisons in detail. So it's incredible to me, before getting to this next video, that you would have the gall, okay, in the first place, to scream out at a comedian. I've been to comedy shows and other sorts of shows, and I would never shout out at them, especially if it were antagonistic, right? Oh, you're talking about Obama? As if it's your job to jump in, be a part of the bit. And so that by itself, I don't really understand. I know some of it is inebriation related. If you're a little more brave to do that. But then you add on top of that, if I'm gonna shout at someone who's the performer, which I'm not, but let's just pretend, and be that aggressive, I'm gonna make sure I know what I'm talking about. Look at the history, look at the history, look at the history, look at the history. You would think that he had a binder of historical data to back that up because of how much he was asserting it, when in reality, the binders we do have studying the data on performance under the two parties, it's the opposite. So stunning stuff there. If you've been watching this show and you're not yet subscribed, I ask that you do just click that subscribe button. Very easy, free, but it makes quite the difference. Back to the video. Then here's another Steve Hofstetter event.
Who else has one? What do you got over there?
Trump 2024.
What'd you say?
What do you think about Trump 2024?
No, I think he's 25 to life. Are you planning? Are you a supporter, or are you vote? Like, would you like that to happen?
I'm a supporter.
You're a supporter? Do you think that he'll be the next Grover Cleveland? Oh, you don't know what that means, right? Because he was a president and then wasn't president and was president again, but you don't know what that means, and that's why you're a Trump supporter.
And of course, I do not endorse the insulting of anybody's intelligence and overgeneralizations. I know some very smart people who are going to vote for Trump, but funny joke nevertheless. And then we get to what is a truly iconic moment from a comedian named Ariel Elias. And the way she handled this was incredible. It's also incredible when the comedian is not bringing up politics, but a heckler brings it up. But then the comedian still wins, right? And wins the back and forth because they weren't even trying to go there, but then they handle it nicely. It's so satisfying because I think all of us have a place in our heart that is really dark. And in that dark place are our feelings about people who interrupt comedy shows or just do these sorts of things in public areas. And this was one of the best examples of how that can be handled.
What's your question?
Did you vote for Donald Trump?
Did I vote for Donald Trump? What do you think?
No.
Okay. Here's a question for you. Why would you ask me that in here knowing I'm the only Jew in this room? Are you trying to get me killed? If it makes you feel any better, I vote in New York. My vote doesn't matter there. It doesn't
matter here either.
It doesn't matter, guys. Everybody vote for whoever you want to vote. I don't care who you voted for. I'm just happy we're all here together.
So you voted for Biden.
So look at that. Before we go further, it's not normal, which I'm fine whenever the comedian antagonizes the views of the person in the crowd. But she's not even doing that. She's like, I don't care who you vote for. We're all good. We're having a good time. And the heckler doesn't stop.
Whoever you want to vote, I don't care who you voted for. I'm just happy we're all here together.
So you voted for Biden.
I don't know. Why does it matter? Yeah, so what? Why does it matter?
I can just tell by your jokes you voted for Biden.
Why are we talking
All right.
about politics?
I can tell by the fact that you're still talking when nobody wants you to that you voted for Trump. Alright, make some noise if you want her to shut up. But I did ask if anybody had any questions. I didn't think it was going to be, that's on me. That was on me for thinking I could have a human interaction with somebody. That's my fault. No, look, I'm such an insecure person. Here, I'll tell you the rest of that bit, and then we'll move on. I'm so insecure. I went and got an IUD.
Wow, come on, bro. You can't do that.
Kidding me? Yo, I'm never coming out with this group of people ever again. Straight up.
So for our podcast listeners, and if you missed it, what happened was, I guess that lady chucked a beer or a White Claw or something at the comedian, Ariel Elias, and chucked at her, narrowly missed her, then she picks up and drinks it, which is just perfect, but frightening. And then you can hear whoever was with that group go, I'm never coming out with you guys again, which is it. But I will say, you couldn't have handled that better. But also it is scary how tense the times are getting. And all of these were sort of flashbacks, so it's gotten even more, that was 2022, so pretty recently, but it's gotten even more heated since then. And so I'm curious how much that's something, I'm sure a lot, that comedians have to be considering. Because that lady, Ariel, didn't even say something overtly political, but by how she was talking and which jokes she was telling, the heckler could tell and was very upset by it. But I guess this is a public service announcement. If you go to a comedy show, don't be that person. Don't be heckling the comedian. Let me know what you thought of all that in the comments. If you want to get an extra episode of this show daily, you can do so by clicking the join button below.